Hey guys, it's Emily Schaller, and you're watching the CF Boltcast. Before we get started, there's a few things we need to go over. First off, nothing on this podcast should be considered medical advice. Medical advice should only come from your doctor. Views expressed on this podcast are solely opinions of the guest and not necessarily opinions of myself or the CF Foundation. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of the CF Boltcast.
This episode of the CF Boltcast is sponsored by Vertex Pharmaceuticals.
Hi, my name is Kevin Dwyer. I am 51 years young. I was diagnosed at 6 years old, and I am from New York City. You know, my story begins with my brothers. I'm from a family of 7 kids. 4 of us have it, 3 of us do not. When I was born, the doctors thought that I didn't need to be tested because I was thriving. But then as I got older, and there was about 2 or 3 years in a row during the winters where I started to get bronchitis. And my mom thought, something doesn't seem right, I think we need to test. And so she was the one that initiated and advocated for me to be tested.
So where did you fall in line? Where do you fall in line with the birth order?
Last.
So I'm curious, was your oldest? Oh, wow. So then were your other siblings diagnosed after you, if 4 of the 7?
No, they were all diagnosed soon after that. Everybody got tested in the family except me, because I wasn't born. So it turns out that the first 2 have it, and the last 2 have it. The middle 3 do not.
And like you say, this is before, the gene was discovered in 1988, 1989. We didn't know it was genetic then. We knew maybe it ran in the family, but didn't know the extent of it, right? So now if somebody gets diagnosed and every sibling thereafter, or even currently, gets tested at least, right? And back then it was kind of like, we'll wait till they have symptoms, right?
Yeah. No, you had to wait. Yeah, there was no telling. You just didn't know.
Talk about the camaraderie of growing up with siblings with CF. I don't know what that's like. It was only me. So I know you could look to your older brother and be like, wow, I can thrive and make goals and have a future, which I want to get into. But talk about like treatments and then growing up as a family with CF, literally.
So the family dynamic is a little different for us because it was sort of like 2 different families because there's such a big age gap. My oldest brother's 16, almost 17 years older than I am. So it was me, my sister, and my other brother. And my sister's the closest sibling to me. She's got cystic fibrosis. The only treatments that we would do, like medications, were an antibiotic called Keflex. There wasn't a lot, honestly, for us. Yeah. Because there wasn't much to do. It was a big deal when Holmazine came out. That was the first big one. And I remember calling because that was the first drug specifically that was going to sort of help CF, right?
Out of any disease, right? Like, we're at the age where we've seen 0 treatments to treatments that, treat the mucus in our lungs or the Pseudomonas in our lungs, and now like modulators, which is crazy. And now we have mRNA therapy and there's gene editing trials happening. So our lifetime has spanned this wild roller coaster of CF.
One thing that happened that really woke me up after ignoring cystic fibrosis and thinking I was invincible was I was in class, company class in the morning, and we were in the center doing something and I coughed. I was waiting to go and I coughed and something was different about it. I went outside to go to the bathroom and I spit up whatever it was into the toilet, and it was pure blood. Going on, my lungs sort of stayed pretty stable from then on. I started to go in every so often for clean outs, and it was a slow decline. Okay. I was battling for a long time where it would be like, I'd kind of go down, I'd go in, get my IVs, it would pop back up, be fine for a little while, and then sort of decline again. IVs, pop back up a little bit, and then it started to go where it wouldn't go up as much. and then it wouldn't go up at all. And then it just started to kind of decline, and I'm still fighting, battling, and that's when that was the dark stuff, the dark time.
Yeah. I guess I didn't realize that it had progressed to that level.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can't dwell on the sorrow for too long. You have to have your time to, feel sad, feel angry, feel all that stuff. You're allowed to. You have to do that. And then you get on, and you're like, okay.
And your career helped your health. I mean, I can't imagine what your lung function would be without consistent dancing and exercise, right? Because doctors telling CF patients, run, bike, stay active, they weren't really telling me that as a kid, and I'm not sure they were telling you that. So without ballet and that form of exercise, I don't know if you would have declined faster, or what could have happened, right?
Absolutely. No, I think ballet and the exercise kept me as healthy, for sure. My lung functions were so high for so long. It was crazy. It was super high for a long time.
How did you get into ballet class, and then how did it stick and then become your career? I think this is really awesome to hear about. I'm super pumped.
We went on a class field trip in first grade to see the Nutcracker, and I was mesmerized by it. The first act blew me away. The lights, the costumes, the music, the dancing. There was kids on stage doing it, and I was just like, oh my God, it's athletic and it's dance, and I loved it. I fell in love with him. And at intermission, my mom was the chaperone, and I turned to her and I said, Mom, do you think I could do that one day? And she goes, yeah, you could be on stage, you could take ballet. And I said, well, I want to do ballet. And then from then on, I just started ballet, and it sort of progressed. And my first goal, the only goal I had, was to be in the Nutcracker. So I knew I had to be at Boston Ballet to go to the Nutcracker. So then we started going in one day a week on the weekends to Boston Ballet to take ballet class. And then I auditioned and I got in. So that was my first goal. And then I just fell in love with performing and being around the professionals. And then I was like, I think this is what I want to do, At age 13, somebody told us, if you want to be a professional, you're going to have to go to New York and try a summer course. So, it's like a summer dance camp, but it's all ballet. And so I came to New York at their audition for the School of American Ballet, which is New York City Ballet's school. I went for 2 years, and then when I was 15, just about 16, they asked me to come for the year and stay for the year. And so I moved to New York, and I lived with my aunt and uncle. My parents stayed. And I was there for 4 years. I graduated from there, and then I went out to Seattle and danced with the company out there in Pacific Northwest. And then I went from there to Pittsburgh, and I finished my career at Pittsburgh Ballet. Now I'm teaching dance to little kids. I would never have been able to do that before. I wouldn't have had the energy. And it's the greatest thing. I wish I'd been doing it years ago. I love it. I love it so much. So my advice is, when you're hit with something with CF that feels devastating, feels difficult, you're allowed to be angry, you're allowed to be sad, you're allowed to be scared. Take the time to do all that. But when you're done with that, get yourself together, find the problem, and deal with that problem and get through it, because there is no normal with anybody's life, whether it's cystic fibrosis or not, So don't compare yourself to a normal life, because what you're living is normal. It's just your normal.
But then to know wow, you're going to watch Hazel grow up, right? How does that feel?
It feels amazing. So she was born in 2017, and then in 2019, the new modulator came out. And my life is completely changed. It's a new life from that moment on. I want to have a first dance with my daughter at her wedding. I'd love to see a grandchild, It's weird to say that now, because I don't know if I would have ever said that before. And, I want to see her graduate, and all those life milestones that I don't know would have been attainable